Welcome to the Good Samaritan Challenge, a social experiment exploring human compassion. Inspired by a profound parable, we staged distress scenarios to uncover the true nature of empathy in our modern world. Over 3 weeks, hidden cameras captured genuine reactions, challenging our assumptions about who we choose to help and why. The parable of the Good Samaritan begins with a lawyer questioning Jesus about compassion. Religious leaders, a priest and a Levite, see an injured man but choose to avoid him, crossing to the other side of the road. This story challenges us to reflect on our own selective compassion and the boundaries we place around it. A Samaritan, despite societal disdain, aids the injured man, challenging social norms. This parable urges us to act compassionately, transcending boundaries. It demands self-reflection on our biases and actions. In a divided world, it asks if we're willing to help those we've been taught to avoid, setting the stage for our experiment on modern compassion. We designed an experiment to test modern compassion by staging distress scenarios in urban settings. Hidden cameras captured public reactions, revealing who stops to help and why. This setup allowed us to ethically observe genuine responses, challenging our assumptions about human nature and compassion in today's world. A businessman collapses in the financial district, yet dozens pass by, prioritizing their schedules. After nearly 4 minutes, a delivery worker stops to help. This scenario highlights how societal roles and perceived urgency influence our willingness to assist. It sets the stage for understanding the bystander effect, where responsibility diffuses among many, leading to inaction. The bystander effect reveals why many ignored the businessman. Diffusion of responsibility and pluralistic ignorance paralyze action. Evaluation, apprehension, and emergency ambiguity further complicate responses. These psychological barriers explain why help often comes from unexpected sources, like the delivery worker. Next, we'll see how social conditioning influences who steps in to assist a struggling woman with groceries. A woman struggles with groceries at an intersection, unnoticed by over 40 passers-by. A teenager, influenced by family values, stops to help, gathering her scattered items. This scenario highlights how social conditioning shapes our willingness to assist others, revealing the impact of upbringing over situational cues in determining compassionate actions. Appearance significantly influences who receives help. Elderly individuals are assisted quickly, while those who appear homeless wait longer. This disparity highlights societal biases in determining who is deemed worthy of compassion. Our observations reveal that these patterns persist across various settings, suggesting deeply ingrained perceptions about deservingness. A homeless man sits in distress, ignored by many. His appearance delays help, highlighting societal biases. After 11 minutes, a nurse stops, driven by her values, not appearances. This stark contrast reveals how deeply ingrained biases affect our compassion, challenging us to reflect on who we deem worthy of assistance. Selective compassion is deeply rooted in our neurological wiring. We empathize more with those we perceive as similar, often leading to in-group preference. Compassion fatigue and quick judgments about deservingness further complicate our responses. The Good Samaritan parable challenges these instincts, urging us to transcend biases and embrace universal compassion. In the lost child scenario, a child's distress in a mall prompted swift action, with 91% of helpers being women, often middle-aged. This highlights how personal identification, like thinking of one's own children, influences our willingness to help. It underscores the power of empathy in overcoming the bystander effect, especially when vulnerability is evident. Visibility and weather impact our willingness to help. Technology often creates a barrier, distracting us from those in need. Group dynamics also play a role. Individuals are more likely to help when alone than in groups. These factors reveal how context influences our compassion, challenging us to be more aware and intentional in our actions. Modern Samaritans defy the bystander effect, showcasing compassionate alertness. These helpers share psychological traits such as situational awareness and empathic concern, which enable them to notice and act on distress. Their actions challenge us to reflect on our own capacity for compassion and the factors influencing who we choose to help. Personal experiences deeply shape our compassion. When we share similar struggles, we're more likely to help. Formative teachings, like those from family or mentors, influence our behavior. This insight reveals why some defy the bystander effect, driven by empathy rooted in their own life stories. In our cultural outsider scenario, we observed varied responses based on location. In tourist districts, help arrived swiftly, often from fellow tourists or service workers. Contrastingly, business districts had the longest wait times, with people too rushed to assist. This highlights how environment and perceived urgency influence our willingness to help those who seem different. Teaching compassion early can reshape our responses. Volunteer experiences normalize helping, making it a reflex rather than an exception. Narratives and personal stories enhance empathy, prompting us to act. By embedding these practices, we can cultivate a society where compassion is instinctive, bridging the gap between our ideals and actions. Time poverty and safety concerns often deter us from helping. In urban settings, compassion fatigue sets in, making it hard to balance empathy with self-protection. These barriers highlight the struggle between our instinct to help and the need to safeguard ourselves, raising questions about how we can foster a more compassionate society. To overcome the bystander effect, we must practice situational awareness, allowing us to notice those in need. Building time margins in our schedules can create space for spontaneous acts of kindness. Cultivating a personal compassion story helps reinforce our identity as helpers, encouraging us to take the first step in aiding others. The challenge is clear: to become modern Samaritans, letting compassion transcend boundaries. The parable's question remains relevant: who is my neighbor? Our actions define the answer. Will we choose to see and help or walk on by? The choice is ours, and the impact profound.